ARE, Present and Future. By Charles Thomas Casey. I am frequently asked, as you may be, what is the ARE? I was reminded of my frequent answer by a letter from Edgar Cayce to a friend, which we recently read in our weekly staff discussion of the psychic readings that my grandfather gave concerning the development and purpose of the ARE. He said, "The Association for Research and Enlightenment, Incorporated, is not a creed, a doctrine, nor a cult. It is merely a name used to designate a group of people, joined together with a certain common attitude toward the field of religion, philosophy, science, and life. The essential element of this attitude is that it is experimental or research. It wishes to keep an open mind toward all the facts in every field of thought, and its central drive is the attempt to apply all knowledge to the problem of better living." Research. I think a significant part of the research-related activities that has an impact on the very nature and character of the organization is our focus on each of you. Testing aspects of the information in the Cayce readings in your life and monitoring the results. If it is found to be helpful, use it; if not, leave it alone. Enlightenment. To me, the enlightenment aspect of this work is simply the process of presenting the material in the Cayce readings to those who are interested. This, according to the readings, is to be done in an educational framework. A framework of open-mindedness, of comparison with other sources of information on the topic of study. As reading number 25442 says, "Its aim, its purpose as set forth and given, is correct. For it, the work, that accomplished, is to be first of all an educational factor in the lives of those that are contacted through the efforts of the association." Ideals and purposes. The Cayce readings suggest that perhaps the most important thing any of us can do in this lifetime is to clarify our ideals and purposes. Then, the most important experience of any entity is first to know what is the ideal spiritually. I think this is true for organizations as well. The ideal of our association is to manifest the universal Christ consciousness. What does this mean? One interpretation is given in reading number 574514. Should the Christ consciousness be described as the awareness within each soul, imprinted in pattern on the mind and waiting to be awakened by the will, of the soul's oneness with God? Correct. That's the idea exactly. A pattern imprinted on every soul. Not just Christians. That is activated as we make choices that help us to manifest the fruits of the Spirit. Love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, faith, meekness, temperance. Our ideal is to help that process of awakening that pattern in everyone who comes in contact with this work. Our purposes can be defined in many ways, but one statement of our purposes was made in the context of a 10-year plan approved by the Board of Trustees in 1980 for the period between 1981 and 1990. Of course, adjustments are continuously being made in the plan, but the four broad purposes of this work that are part of the plan will continue. Awakening. Touching the spiritual nature of seeking individuals through readings, concepts. Applying. Sharing an understanding of how to apply readings, concepts, and to offer opportunities for application. Educating. Providing study materials and learning experiences that lead to a better understanding of the readings, concepts. Sharing and serving. Encouraging members to share what they have found good and helpful with others, providing ways for members to serve, and thus strengthening serving. Sharing by example of the staff. In my opinion, the future of this work involves three major content areas of the Cayce readings: personal philosophy and spiritual growth, health and healing, and understanding the nature and use of psychic ability. Our activities need to continually address these areas in ways that will be hopeful and helpful to those who come in contact with us. An additional purpose of this work is to be a kind of stimulus or leaven for changes in public attitudes that we hope will lead to more openness towards studying concepts from the Cayce readings. For example, a book, The Great Physician, published by the United Methodist Church about the healing stories in Luke and their meaning for today, mentions alternative healing. It notes, many other healers have a similar understanding of their power to heal. One of the best known of these in the United States was the Baptist Sunday school teacher Edgar Cayce. Thomas Segru has written his story in There Is a River. Actually, my grandfather taught Sunday school at the First Christian Church in Selma, Alabama, and later joined the Presbyterian Church when the family moved to Virginia Beach. But the point about his being a well-known healer is certainly correct. And it is encouraging that the Methodists today include this information in literature for their Sunday school teachers. Another teacher, a college professor, wrote to tell us about a course he was developing in parapsychology. His introduction to this field, he said, had been through the Cayce readings. Another example of the ARE's leavening purpose is seen in a letter we received from a 6th grade schoolgirl, Wendy Steele, of Ridgely, West Virginia. Wendy did a social studies project based on the life of Edgar Cayce, and won second place at her school and a certificate of merit in a higher competition at another school. I really got a lot of people interested in the ARE and Mr. Cayce's work and life, she wrote us. I enjoyed doing the project so much that I didn't care about whether I won an award or not. It was a pleasure to let people know about some as different and good as Mr. Cayce. Wendy's enthusiasm is really uplifting.